Imagine stepping into an arena where a football match is no longer just a game, but a volatile cocktail of geopolitical tension, historical grudges, and absolute chaos. Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup Quarter-Finals in Boston, France versus Morocco, a rematch of the iconic 2022 Qatar semifinal. But this time, the stakes were personal, and the drama started long before the referee blew the opening whistle. If you thought the action only happened on the pitch, you were dead wrong. Before a single ball was kicked, the media room at the Gillette Stadium turned into a literal war zone. Real Madrid superstar Brahim Diaz was sitting at the press conference ready to answer questions when absolute madness broke out. A French journalist and a Moroccan photographer got into a brutal argument over camera angles. Within seconds, it escalated into a full-blown physical brawl. Punches were thrown, security rushed in. In the background, you could hear people screaming, "You cannot hit me!" While the world watched in shock, Diaz just sat there, completely bewildered, flashing a confused smile and confessed, "I completely forgot the question." The internet predictably went up in flames. But that was just the appetizer. The real controversy erupted when FIFA dropped a bombshell announcement regarding the officiating crew. They appointed an All-Argentine refereeing panel led by the notoriously ruthless Facundo Tello. Now think about the history here. The lingering bitterness from the 2022 World Cup final between France and Argentina was already raw. To make matters worse, Tello is a referee who once handed out a record-breaking 10 red cards in a single domestic match in Argentina. The French media immediately went into a frenzy, accusing FIFA of setting a trap. The tension was palpable, but French defender Dayot Upamecano tried to cool the flames, stating they were focusing entirely on Morocco, not the man with the whistle. Meanwhile, the mathematical geniuses and the betting world were locked in a fascinating civil war of their own. The Opta supercomputer ran 25,000 rigorous simulations. The verdict? France were the overwhelming favorites with a massive 61% chance of winning in normal time. Morocco had just a dismal 16% chance. But here's where it gets crazy. The prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi completely ignored the math. The betting public pushed France's odds even higher, to over 35% to win the entire tournament. The raw star power of Les Bleus was overriding the cold, hard data. In fact, France's sheer presence cast such a shadow that Spain's probability of winning the World Cup plummeted from 16% to 13%, simply because the model knew Spain would have to survive France in the semifinals. Historically, France held the upper hand with 4 wins out of their previous 6 meetings, but this Moroccan side was not the team of the past. Under Mohamed Wabi, the Atlas Lions had just shattered a world record by winning 19 consecutive international matches, climbing to a historic 7th in the FIFA rankings. Yet history also whispered a warning for the French. In the 21st century, half of France's World Cup defeats had come at the hands of African nations. The infamous African jinx was looming large, and everyone wondered if Morocco could pull off the ultimate heist. Tactically, this match was always going to be won or lost in one specific corridor: Morocco's explosive right flank versus France's lethal left wing. Under Wabi, Morocco transformed into the most hard-working, high-intensity team in the entire tournament. They averaged an insane 0.33 high-intensity sprints per kilometer, outrunning every single team in the quarterfinals. The heartbeat of this engine was their captain, Achraf Hakimi. Partnering with Brahim Diaz, Hakimi was a creative monster, racking up 13 shots and 13 chances created before this match. But this hyper-aggressive attacking style carried a massive risk. Whenever Hakimi bombed forward, he left a massive gaping void behind him. And that void was exactly what France planned to exploit with terrifying precision. France's entire tactical identity was built on devastating ball carries. They led the tournament with 33 dribbles that led directly to shots. At the center of this plan was Kylian Mbappe, clocked as the fastest sprinter in the tournament at a terrifying 23.4 miles per hour. Alongside the young prodigy Desiree Dou, Mbappe was instructed to relentlessly target the empty space Hakimi left behind. But just hours before kickoff, disaster struck the Moroccan camp. Their star striker, Ismail Saibare, the man who had scored in every group game and netted the winning penalty against the Netherlands, was ruled out. A devastating hamstring injury sustained against Canada had sidelined the 26-year-old talisman. Without him, Morocco's attacking teeth were effectively pulled, leaving them with an expected goals of a mere 0.13 xg. The lineups were announced, and both managers locked in a tactical 4-2-3-1 formation. France started Maignan in goal, with Koundé, Upamecano, Saliba, and Digne forming the back four. Kone and Rabiot anchored the midfield, while Dembélé, Olise, and Du sat just behind the lethal Kylian Mbappe. Morocco countered with Bounou in goal. Hakimi, Diop, Mazraoui, and Salah Eddin took the defensive line. Bouhaddi and El Ayanawi controlled the midfield, while Diaz, Onahi, and El Khanous supported the young striker Shamsuddin Talbi. The stage was set, the atmosphere was electric, and as the referee blew the whistle, nobody could have predicted the sheer drama that was about to unfold on the pitch.
The thermometer in Boston read a scorching 31 degrees Celsius with 60% humidity. It was a suffocating, brutal environment, but the physical intensity on the pitch was instantaneous. From the very first second, France unleashed their raw physical power, suffocating Morocco with rapid, vertical passing. In just the third minute, France earned a corner. The ball whipped into the box, and defender Dayot Upamecano rose like a giant, powering a ferocious header toward the net. The stadium gasped, but Moroccan keeper Yassine Bounou pulled off a miraculous, superhuman reflex save right on the goal line. Then came the 26th minute, the moment that turned the first half into a psychological thriller. Kylian Mbappe activated his lethal acceleration, tearing down the left flank and cutting sharply into the box. In a desperate bid to stop him, Noussair Mazraoui lunged in, catching the French captain. Mbappe went down. The stadium erupted. Referee Facundo Tello pointed straight to the penalty spot, a decision that withstood a tense, lengthy VAR review. Mbappe stepped up to take the kick himself. He looked calm, collected, and confident. He took his trademark stutter-step run-up and fired a powerful shot toward the bottom right corner. But Bounou read him like an open book. The Moroccan keeper anticipated the strike perfectly, launched his body through the air, and spectacularly denied the best player in the world. The Moroccan fans went absolutely wild. France kept pushing, and in the final seconds of the first half, Lucas Digne unleashed a thunderous, swerving volley from outside the box. Bounou was completely beaten this time, but the ball violently rattled against the crossbar and bounced away. The halftime whistle blew at a breathless 0-0. But the second half was a completely different story. France emerged from the tunnel with an even hungrier, more aggressive posture. They relentlessly pounded the Moroccan defensive wall until the 60th minute, when the deadlock finally shattered. Desiré Dou picked up the ball in midfield and slipped a sharp pass to Mbappe on the edge of the box. With a dazzling, lightning-fast drop of his shoulder, Mbappe completely turned defender Issa Diop inside out. Before the cover defense could arrive, he unleashed an unbelievable curling right-footed strike into the far top corner. Bounou dived at full stretch, but it was absolutely unstoppable. It was Mbappe's 8th goal of the tournament, catapulting him right next to Lionel Messi at the top of the Golden Boot race. Before Morocco could even process the psychological blow, France struck again just 6 minutes later. The Moroccan defense, visibly exhausted and disorganized, lost their concentration for a split second. Mbappe drew 3 defenders towards him, leaving a massive pocket of space open on the opposite side. He fed a brilliant ball to Ousmane Dembélé, who burst into the box completely unmarked. With ice running through his veins, Dembélé calmly slotted a low, precise shot past Bounou into the bottom corner. 2-0. The Moroccan dream was crumbling. But then, the stadium went dead silent in the 76th minute. While driving forward on another counterattack, Mbappe took a heavy blow to his leg. He went down, grimacing in pain. Fearing the absolute worst, French coach Didier Deschamps immediately substituted him for Jean-Philippe Mateta. As Mbappe sat on the bench, cameras caught the medical staff wrapping a massive ice pack around his right leg. A wave of anxiety swept through the French nation. Even without their talisman, France almost added a third in stoppage time when Mateta found himself one-on-one with Bounou, but the heroic Moroccan keeper produced yet another world-class save. Moments later, Tello blew the final whistle. France had marched into the semifinals with a commanding 2-0 victory. Looking at the post-match data, the sheer dominance of Les Bleus becomes undeniable. France controlled 61% of the ball possession and generated a staggering 3.10 expected goals compared to Morocco's microscopic 0.33 xG. France fired 21 total shots, with 8 hitting the target, and created 5 big chances. Morocco, starved of their main attacking outlet, managed only 5 total shots, with just a single solitary effort testing Mike Maignan. This match was a goldmine for historical milestones. By scoring the opening goal, Kylian Mbappe became the youngest player in football history to reach both 20 World Cup appearances and 20 World Cup goals. Furthermore, this marked his 11th career goal in the World Cup knockout stages, cementing his legacy as the most clinical knockout goalscorer the tournament has ever seen. The race between Mbappe and Messi for the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball is now officially a historic war. We also witnessed the sheer tactical evolution of this French team. After a gritty, unattractive 1-0 win against Paraguay in the round of 16, Mbappe famously said, "They thought we were going to show up in tuxedo suits, but we know how to play dirty football when we need to." Against Morocco, France proved exactly that. They abandoned the flashy aesthetics and embraced a cold, defensive pragmatism. Whenever Morocco attempted to mount an attack, the defensive wall of William Saliba and Dayot Upamecano crushed it before it could even breathe. This victory also marked a monumental milestone for Didier Deschamps. This was his 25th World Cup match as a manager, equaling the legendary record of Germany's Helmut Schön. With 19 World Cup victories already under his belt, Deschamps has undeniably cemented himself as the most successful manager in tournament history. Beyond the tactics, the cultural and geopolitical weight of this match was immense. Due to the intense colonial history between France and Morocco, security forces were on high alert, with thousands of extra police officers deployed across major French cities to prevent a repeat of the riots seen in 2022. Even though Morocco's beautiful fairy tale ended in Boston, the Atlas Lions proved to the entire world that their historic run in Qatar was no fluke. They fought like warriors, representing the entire Arab and African world with immense pride, and proved they belong among the elite of global football. With this crucial 2-0 victory, France has taken a massive step towards a truly legendary achievement. They are now just 2 wins away from reaching a 3rd consecutive World Cup final, a historic feat accomplished only by powerhouse nations like Brazil and Germany. But the big question mark remains: will Mbappe's leg injury heal in time for the ultimate showdown? If you enjoyed this deep tactical breakdown, make sure to show your support by hitting that like button, leaving your thoughts down in the comments section below, and subscribing to the channel so you never miss out on our latest football deep dives.